Life as a Sigma male is anything but easy. You're not the type to follow the crowd, conform to expectations, or live by rules that don't make sense to you. And while this makes you rare and powerful, it also makes your path incredibly challenging. The world doesn't always know how to handle someone like you. Someone who values independence over approval, substance over show, and purpose over comfort. The truth is, your struggle is a reflection of your strength. You face isolation because your depth intimidates people. You're misunderstood because you refuse to explain yourself to everyone. And you often carry burdens silently because you trust no one else to handle them. But here's the thing. The very traits that make your life hard are the same ones that make you unstoppable. This video dives into why Sigma males face such unique challenges and how those struggles shape you into the resilient, unshakable force you are. It's time to understand your own strength and take pride in the path only you can walk. Make sure to watch till the very end, as every part adds something significant. And don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments. Number 1. They are magnets for toxic people. Sigma males possess an inner calm and strength that can't be easily shaken, and ironically, this very trait makes them magnets for toxic people. Their composed demeanor, quiet confidence, and emotional resilience act like a beacon for those who thrive on control and manipulation. To toxic individuals, Sigma males represent a challenge, someone they believe they can break, mold, or dominate. These manipulators are drawn to Sigma males not because they want to connect, but because they see an opportunity to test their influence. They crave the satisfaction of tearing down what they perceive as unshakable. To them, a Sigma male's independence isn't inspiring. It's a threat, a reminder of everything they lack within themselves. So they go to great lengths to infiltrate their lives, using charm, deceit, or emotional games to try and chip away at their defenses. The challenge for Sigma males is that their empathetic nature can sometimes work against them. They don't jump to conclusions or assume the worst in people, which can give toxic individuals the opening they need. However, once the red flags become apparent, a Sigma male doesn't waste time. They see manipulation for what it is and shut it down without hesitation. This often leaves the manipulator frustrated and defeated as their schemes rarely succeed. Still, the constant exposure to such people can be draining. Always having to guard against hidden agendas or emotional traps can feel like a never-ending battle. But instead of becoming cynical, Sigma males use these experiences to sharpen their instincts. They learn to protect their peace at all costs, setting firm boundaries and refusing to compromise their principles. While they may attract toxicity, they never let it define them, proving that true strength isn't just about enduring, but about knowing when to walk away. Number 2. A childhood of carrying adult expectations. From an early age, many Sigma males were placed in roles they never asked for. They weren't seen as just kids, they were seen as the ones who had it together. Their natural maturity, sharp instincts, and ability to solve problems made them the default problem solvers in their families. While other children were free to play and explore, Sigma males were often handed responsibilities they weren't ready for. Whether it was mediating family conflicts, caring for younger siblings, or becoming emotional support for parents who should have been supporting them. This forced maturity shaped them into resilient, independent men who could handle anything life threw their way. But beneath that strength lies a quiet ache. Being treated like a mini-adult meant their own childhood needs were often ignored. No one asked how they were feeling because they were too busy fixing everyone else's problems. No one saw their vulnerability because they were always expected to be the strong one. It's an invisible weight they carried into adulthood, shaping their reluctance to rely on anyone else. This early exposure to adult burdens taught them self-reliance and forged an unshakable character. But it also left scars. Scars of loneliness, suppressed emotions, and a lingering sense of never truly being seen. As adults, they struggled to let their guard down, conditioned by years of believing that their worth was tied to how much they could shoulder for others. Despite this, Sigma males have learned to turn those struggles into their greatest strengths. They don't crave pity or validation, but they carry a deep understanding of the world that comes from a childhood spent observing, protecting, and enduring. Their resilience was born from the unfair expectations placed on them, and it's that resilience that sets them apart. Number 3, they challenge authority naturally. Sigma males have a natural aversion to blind obedience. They're not the type to follow orders simply because someone says, "I'm in charge." For them, authority isn't a position. It's a responsibility that must be earned through competence, integrity, and respect. If those qualities are absent, a Sigma male won't pretend otherwise, and this honest stance often ruffles feathers. They don't aim to be rebellious, but their unwillingness to conform automatically makes them stand out in environments that thrive on hierarchy and compliance. This mindset frequently puts them at odds with authority figures who expect unquestioning loyalty. Whether it's a boss demanding respect without earning it, an institution enforcing outdated rules, or societal norms that make no sense, Sigma males are quick to call out hypocrisy and inefficiency. They value logic, fairness, and authenticity. So when they encounter leadership that lacks these traits, they push back, not out of defiance, but because they refuse to betray their principles. Unfortunately, this earns them labels like difficult, stubborn, or even arrogant. People in power often view their questions and challenges as threats rather than opportunities for improvement. Instead of appreciating their perspective, they attempt to stifle it, making life harder for Sigma males who simply want systems to work the way they should. But this natural resistance to unearned authority isn't a flaw, it's a strength. It protects Sigma males from being manipulated or controlled by systems or individuals who don't deserve their trust. They don't disrupt for the sake of it. They disrupt to create better outcomes, even if that means being misunderstood or disliked. In the end, their refusal to blindly follow inspires those around them to think critically and demand better, even if it makes the road ahead a little lonelier. Number 3, the unforgiving price of being too much. Sigma males live in a world that doesn't quite know how to handle them. They refuse to dim their light or water themselves down to make others comfortable. Their ambition, intelligence, and quiet confidence set them apart, but instead of being celebrated, they're often met with resistance. Society, which tends to reward conformity and mediocrity, struggles to accept someone who refuses to play by its rules. And so, Sigma males are judged, not for their flaws, but for the sheer audacity of being exceptional. When you don't fit neatly into the boxes others expect, you become a target. Sigma males are labeled as intimidating, arrogant, or unapproachable simply because they don't seek validation or bend to societal norms. Their independence is seen as defiance, their confidence mistaken for ego, and their high standards for arrogance. It's not that they're trying to outshine anyone. They're just committed to being the best version of themselves. But this commitment to authenticity comes with a heavy price. Criticism becomes a constant companion. People project their insecurities onto them, blaming Sigma males for making them feel inadequate. The resistance they face isn't always overt. Sometimes it's subtle, like being excluded, dismissed, or undermined. Over time, these experiences can make even the strongest person feel like an outsider. Still, Sigma males press on, knowing that shrinking themselves to fit in would be a betrayal of who they are. They understand that standing out comes with challenges, but they'd rather face judgment for being authentic than be praised for living a lie. Their existence is a quiet rebellion against mediocrity, and while the price is steep, the reward of staying true to themselves is worth every struggle they endure. Number 4, resilience is mistaken for invulnerability. Sigma males have a remarkable ability to weather life's storms without showing cracks. They face adversity with a calm, composed demeanor that makes it seem like nothing can faze them. To the outside world, this resilience looks like invulnerability, and that's where the misunderstanding begins. People see their strength and assume they don't feel pain, doubt, or exhaustion like everyone else. Their ability to remain composed under pressure often leads others to believe they don't need help, or worse, that they wouldn't even want it. This perception creates a lonely reality. Sigma males don't show their struggles because they've been conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a weakness. But that doesn't mean they don't feel the weight of their challenges. The problem is, when they do need support, it rarely comes. Their self-reliance, which is often admired, becomes a barrier. Friends, family, and colleagues mistakenly think, "He's got this," and step back, leaving them to carry the full burden on their own. Over time, this isolation takes a toll. It's exhausting to be the one who never falters, the one who's always expected to handle everything without complaint. Sigma males might never voice it, but they sometimes wish someone would notice their silent battles, not to fix their problems, but simply to acknowledge them, to remind them they're human too. Despite this, Sigma males keep pushing forward. They've learned that the world won't always offer empathy, so they create their own strength. But make no mistake, resilience isn't the absence of struggle, it's the ability to endure it. And while others may mistake their strength for invincibility, the truth is, their endurance is built on countless battles fought alone, with no one but themselves to lean on. Number 5. Misjudged and misunderstood. Sigma males often walk through life with an aura that people can't quite figure out. Their quiet confidence and self-sufficient nature leave many guessing. And unfortunately, most get it wrong. They're often seen as arrogant because they don't feel the need to explain themselves. To some, they seem cold because they don't wear their emotions on their sleeve. Others might label them as disinterested simply because they're not quick to engage in shallow conversations or social pleasantries. But the truth couldn't be further from these assumptions. What sets Sigma males apart is their intentionality. They're not cold, they're calculated. They're not arrogant, they're self-aware. And they're far from disinterested. They simply value quality over quantity, whether it's in relationships, conversations, or how they spend their time. Their energy isn't wasted on meaningless pursuits or validation from the crowd. Yet because they operate so differently, society struggles to see their true value. The world is quick to reward loudness, showmanship, and surface-level charm, traits Sigma males purposely avoid. This disconnect can be frustrating. Imagine having so much to offer but being dismissed because you don't advertise it. Sigma males don't crave applause, but they sometimes wish people could see beyond the surface. The lack of recognition isn't just disheartening. It can leave them feeling isolated. They carry their burdens alone, not because they want to, but because people fail to realize they even need support. Still, this misunderstanding is a testament to their uniqueness. To be misjudged means you're standing apart, not blending in. For Sigma males, that's the price of authenticity, and it's one they're willing to pay. Their worth doesn't diminish just because others can't see it. If anything, it proves their strength lies in never compromising who they are. Thank you for being a part of this community, gents. Your support means the world to us and inspires us to keep delivering impactful content. We deeply appreciate you. Number 6. They intimidate others unintentionally. Sigma males often don't try to intimidate anyone, but their mere presence has that effect on others. Their quiet confidence, self-assuredness, and no-nonsense attitude can make people feel uneasy, especially when they're used to being surrounded by people who seek validation or constantly second-guess themselves. Sigma males don't engage in small talk, they don't play games, and they don't bend to social pressures. They simply are. And that authenticity can be overwhelming for those who are used to more conventional behaviors. In social and professional settings, this often leads to tension. Some people feel threatened by someone who seems so unshakable and self-reliant. They might try to challenge Sigma males either to prove their own worth or to test whether this person really is as confident as they seem. Others, unable to handle the intensity, simply avoid them. Sigma males aren't seeking to dominate the room, but their composure, focus, and directness can make others feel small by comparison, even when that's not their intention. This creates a strange dynamic where Sigma males are often misunderstood. Those who don't know them might view them as aloof or unapproachable, when in reality they're simply not interested in playing by the usual social scripts. They don't need the approval of others to feel validated, and this can make people who do rely on approval uncomfortable. The irony is that Sigma males, by simply being themselves, end up creating a sense of distance between themselves and others, even when they want nothing more than to exist without unnecessary friction. Yet, despite the tension it brings, they continue to live authentically, unbothered by those who can't handle their energy. Number 7. Truth-telling comes at a cost. Sigma males are brutally honest, and while this trait is a sign of integrity, it comes at a steep price. They don't indulge in the art of sugarcoating or beating around the bush. If they see something wrong, they'll call it out. No hesitation, no apologies. They value the truth above all else, even if it means exposing uncomfortable realities or shattering illusions. This unflinching commitment to honesty is what sets them apart, but it also makes them a threat in a world that thrives on pretense, diplomacy, and half-truths. When Sigma males speak the truth, it doesn't always go over well. People who are used to hiding behind lies or avoiding difficult conversations can find their bluntness jarring. Some will be offended, others will feel exposed, and many will choose to distance themselves rather than face the hard truths they'd rather ignore. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a flawed system, or a false narrative, Sigma males don't back down from confronting what's broken, even when it means losing people or opportunities. This honesty can breed animosity. Those around them, particularly those who thrive on keeping up appearances, will see them as a disruptor. The more Sigma males speak out, the more isolated they become, as they're often left standing alone with only their principles to guide them. Yet for them, this isolation is the price they willingly pay. They'd rather be alone with the truth than surrounded by people who refuse to see it. The cost of truth-telling may be steep, but Sigma males understand that integrity and authenticity are worth the sacrifice. Number 8. They don't fear losing people, and that terrifies others. Sigma males have a unique power, one that many others fear. They don't fear losing people. Whether it's toxic relationships, manipulative friends, or unfulfilling connections, they're willing to walk away without hesitation if it means preserving their peace of mind. They understand that not all relationships are worth holding on to, and they refuse to cling to unhealthy bonds simply for the sake of having someone around. This ability to detach and move on is often misinterpreted by others as coldness or indifference, but in reality, it's a sign of strength. Sigma males know their worth and aren't afraid to stand alone rather than settle for relationships that drain them. They value their own well-being above the fleeting comfort of being surrounded by people who don't truly add value to their lives. But for those around them, this ability to walk away is terrifying. Many people cling to relationships out of fear of being alone or out of a need for validation. To them, Sigma males' willingness to let go of unhealthy ties sends a chilling message: they don't need anyone. This scares people who rely on these relationships for emotional security or social standing. It makes Sigma males difficult to control because they're not swayed by the typical pressures that bind people together. In a world that thrives on connection, attachment, and emotional dependency, Sigma males' ability to walk away creates a sense of alienation. People don't understand how someone can be so self-sufficient, and that very self-sufficiency isolates them. But for Sigma males, this detachment is a necessary freedom, a way to ensure that their lives are shaped by choice, not fear. And while it may leave them standing alone at times, they know that being surrounded by the right people is far more important than simply having people around. Number 9. They can't tolerate shallow relationships. Sigma males have a strong need for depth in their relationships. They aren't interested in the surface-level connections that most people settle for. Small talk, fake pleasantries, and shallow interactions don't hold any appeal for them. They crave authenticity, substance, and emotional richness in their connections with others. For them, relationships aren't just about filling space. They're about true understanding and shared experiences that go beyond the ordinary. The problem, however, is that most people are perfectly content with superficial bonds. They're more focused on maintaining the image of a friendship or relationship rather than nurturing something real and meaningful. Conversations often stay within the realm of safe topics, and people rarely open up about what's truly going on inside. For a Sigma male, This leaves a hunger, a sense of emptiness. They are left starved for the emotional depth and genuine connection that they need to feel truly seen and understood. Sigma males can't fake it. They won't settle for shallow relationships just to fill the gaps. This often leads to feelings of isolation, as they find themselves surrounded by people who either don't share their need for depth or are incapable of offering it. In a world where so many are content with fleeting interactions and shallow connections, Sigma males stand apart, yearning for something more. This doesn't make them bitter or cynical. It just makes them more discerning about who they invest their time and energy in. For them, relationships are meant to be a source of growth, not just a way to pass the time. And when that kind of connection is hard to come by, it leaves them feeling alone, even when they're surrounded by people. Number 10. The punishment of standing alone. Sigma males don't need groups to feel validated. While most people crave the sense of belonging that comes from being part of a clique or fitting in, Sigma males are comfortable in their own company. They trust their own instincts, make their own decisions, and don't rely on anyone's approval to define their worth. But that kind of independence comes with a price, one that society often demands. When someone refuses to conform, the world punishes them for it. Sigma males are often sidelined simply because they don't play by the rules. Their ability to stand on their own can make others feel threatened. In a society where groupthink is the norm and popularity is often equated with success, those who stand outside the crowd are seen as outsiders. People who don't fit into social groups make others uncomfortable, and when that happens, they become targets. They get excluded, ignored, or even sabotaged, all because their independence challenges the status quo. What makes Sigma males so powerful is the same thing that makes them a target: self-sufficiency. The fact that they don't need others to validate their existence is seen as an affront by those who rely on external validation to feel important. This often leads to isolation. But while it may seem like a punishment, being sidelined only strengthens the Sigma male. The less they rely on others, the more they learn to depend on themselves. In the end, standing alone isn't a weakness. It's a power that few ever truly understand. And it's what sets Sigma males apart in a world that punishes the independent. Sigma males live in a world that's often too loud, too shallow, and too concerned with conformity. They walk their own path, and while that's something to be admired, it also comes with its own unique set of challenges. From being misunderstood to facing isolation for their blunt honesty, Sigma males often find themselves walking a road that few can understand or navigate. But here's the thing. It's these very struggles that shape them into who they are, strong, independent, and unwavering in their pursuit of truth. Their resilience, their refusal to settle for mediocrity, and their commitment to authenticity make them rare, but that rarity comes with its own burdens. They don't conform to the world's expectations, and that's what makes their lives harder than most. But it also makes them extraordinary. Sigma males aren't afraid to face the harsh realities of life alone, because they know that true growth comes from within, not from the validation or approval of others. So, while their journey may be tough, it's one that's deeply personal and filled with a quiet strength that only they can truly understand. If you relate to this, or if you want to understand the unique challenges of Sigma males better, make sure to watch the full video. Dive deeper into the realities of their lives and maybe even find a piece of your own story in theirs. Keep pushing forward, because while the road may be difficult, it's also the one that leads to true greatness.